Thanks for joining us again. It's been a little while, couple of weeks. Took a little hiatus to get some product under the belt. Tonight's film, classic. Is it fair to say?
Classic.
1984's The Terminator. But before we get to that, let's do a quick up or down. This trailer is right up my alley. Netflix have released a full trailer for the Fear Street trilogy of films that they're releasing in July. So there's one on the 2nd of July, then there's one on the 9th, and there's one on the 16th, I think. And they're all interconnected. And the trailer looks fucking great. I'm all over it. It seems to have very much a slasher movie vibe, but then there seems to be going back to the 1600s or something near the end. So yeah, for me, I'm a huge up. I'll be all over it.
I forgot to watch it.
You forgot to watch it. Similar to Lethal Weapon and anything else. Anything else
Terminator
in the top 100 films.
So does anything we're saying sound good?
You've got me interested already, though, Ads.
We were watching The Terminator. Did you watch that?
First time I've seen it. I didn't watch it.
Jared, your thoughts?
Yeah, I dig it. I think it looks really cool. The thing that I really like about it is it seems to maintain that kind of... Obviously, Fear Street was kind of Goosebumps, but for a little bit of an older audience.
More a teen audience.
And it seems to have maintained that, but is going to link these three stories and looks possibly like they've gored it up a little bit.
Yes.
So, yeah, because the people that were reading Fear Street are likely, our age now. So I dig it. Good move. It looks like it's gonna have some blood and guts, but seems true to what we could sort of expect from those books. So I'm definitely very excited for the three of them. And I like the format that they've just decided 3 films, 3 time frames, but they're all going to link.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. And I was saying to my wife the other day, because, she was into this sort of stuff back when she was young and that type of stuff. And I was saying, we're so lucky we're living in this sort of streaming environment.
Yeah.
Because this is pure niche. It would never have got made for the cinemas. Like, they would never have said, okay, we're going to punch out 3 of these films because it's a niche market. But Netflix can go, yeah, we've got 20 million subscribers here who probably love this.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll put it out there for them.
This is the real bonus of these competing streaming services. Even in the direct-to-video or direct-to-DVD, you couldn't expect this. And the release schedule of 3 films, things like that, that hasn't always worked. You looked at something like Grindhouse when Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez tried to do something a little different. They didn't like it in cinemas. So by the time it got to Australia, that whole concept was gone and we got 2 separate films. Yeah. That you had to go and buy 2 tickets to and things like that. So, yeah, you're right. This is the real bonus to the streaming age. Unless your name is, Spielberg or Nolan or something like that.
You're not happy with that.
But, yeah, this is the bonus, right? We get some of this genre stuff. And with things like Shudder and Amazon's, Blumhouse little deal, it's coming towards those niche things that we've spoken about. I remember having a conversation with you a couple of years back saying I would absolutely love one of those old kind of horror host sort of things. Yeah. Shudder's done it. Now we've got Joe Bob doing that every week. Now I've got Amazon punching out 4 films at the same time from Blumhouse. Like it's
everybody's
awesome.
Looking for product. Yeah. That's the thing. I read something about Hulu has got, at the same time there was Fear Street and all that, or just before them, there was a series of books similar type, and R.L. Stine was involved.
The Point Thrillers?
The Point Thrillers. And Hulu's got a deal to make them.
Yeah. The Babysitter?
Yeah, which is a great idea. So, again, this type of niche market can get some traction and it's nostalgia. People come back to these things.
Well, that's something like The Babysitter. I don't even recall reading that, but I recall my sister having them. And every time there was one, the cover was like one of those old VHS horror movie covers where you're looking at it going, oh, shit. This looks a bit scary, and then, you'd see The Babysitter 2, and you're like, oh, what happened? What happened in between? Like, you want to know about all this, but I never even got to read them fully, I think. I might have flicked through a few pages here and there. But someone like me still has a connection to that, that kind of built into something that I'm now interested in. So if they drop those ones, I'm all over it.
Yeah, I'm definitely into it. You can go and watch it.
I'll go check it out.
Till next time. All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 1984's The Terminator.
The arrival. The target. The pursuit. confrontation. The Terminator. Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. Rated R. The #1 movie in the USA is now playing everywhere.
The Terminator from 1984, directed by James Cameron, who directed True Lies. It's written by James Cameron and Gale Ann Hurd, who wrote and produced Aliens, and with initial dialogue by William Wisher, who wrote Judge Dredd. I actually wasn't aware of that until I looked this up.
Right.
And it was produced by Gale
Obviously,
Ann Hurd.
left all the good work here. So,
Yeah. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator, Michael Biehn as Kyle Reese, Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, and Paul Winfield as Traxler. The budget was $6.4 million, and the box office was $78 million. This is possibly my favourite piece of trivia. O.J. Simpson was considered for the role of the Terminator, but producers feared that he was too nice to be taken seriously as a cold-blooded killer.
Him chasing around a white girl, try and stab us, not.
No, he never pulled that
That's
off.
not real. That's not real.
But he was acquitted.
Nordberg was more his kind of wheelhouse.
Oh, look, don't get me wrong. Shit bloke, but I still love Nordberg. Sorry. Thoughts, Maddie?
I loved it. It's got vibe. It's a great story. It doesn't lose you at any point, give or take some CGI. It's fantastic. For me, 4.5 easy.
4.5. Jared?
For one, it's a really good action movie, but it's an action movie that's got really compelling ideas. You know, we'd seen that sort of thing, someone chasing someone before, but the whole time travel, the robot, the person there, sort of just an excellent kind of blend. And there's even a little bit, you know, the last couple of times I've watched it, I've sort of become more aware. There's even a little bit of sort of Michael Myers kind of slasher type element in there. And it just works superbly. So I think it's a 4.5.
4.5.
I can't remember what I gave part 2, but yeah, they're two of the finest kind of companion films to go together.
I was always obviously in the high end with this film. I hadn't watched it for a long time. With action films, for me, your top, your 5-starers, Die Hard's just there. Everything's just a little bit below it, like Predator and Mad Max Fury Road and things like that. Terminator sits right there. I gave it 5. I think it's just a phenomenal piece of work. It actually spends time building character that you actually give a shit about. And I've got to give a rap. This is predominantly considered James Cameron, like James Cameron's movie. It's a bit like Halloween. You know, they always say John Carpenter's Halloween. Yeah. But Gale Ann Hurd, I reckon her involvement is written all over Sarah Connor. And so she doesn't kind of get the raps that I think she deserves. And it's the same as Deborah Hill with Halloween. So they really sort of give you a character that you can root for. I love Kyle Reese. I think he's fantastic, and he delivers a couple of monologues that are fucking awesome. And Arnie, you know, people would say act like a robot, not much in it, but there's more to it than you think, and I think he is actually really good here. Yeah. But overall, it is just a superb film. Anybody who's into film has to watch this.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I go 5. First thing out of the gate for me, I love the music.
Yeah,
just
music's excellent.
Yeah, that's iconic, right?
Yeah, it's just when it opens up with that, it's just really, really driving sort of stuff, and you don't forget about it.
Yeah, there's also another one. It's a real cracker when you get Kyle Reese's first flashback, and it sounds like John Carpenter.
Yeah, the whole
but it
thing.
sounds more sort of like, I don't know, like Assault on Precinct 13-ish or Escape from New York-ish John Carpenter than the Halloween one. Excellent.
Yeah,
really,
he's
really
been
good.
working with John Carpenter on Escape from New York. James Cameron.
Oh yeah. He did that.
So he's just
that
taken
bit where the helicopter's flying over.
Yes. Yeah. So
he's definitely taken some
little cues from it.
Yeah, there's definitely some nods, but also, you know, his own work or Harlan Ellison's work, depending on who you talk to. But yeah, the blending of that sort of stuff with the action and the sci-fi is just it works so well, but I think the music is kind of underrated at this point. People don't really bring up Terminator, possibly because a couple of the pop tunes that kind of come screeching in at certain points. But
the nightclub that they're in, holy shit.
Techno.
But those scenes in the flashbacks and the opening scene and stuff are just excellent. Really good stuff.
So I'm surprised I'm going to say this because it's such an old film, and budgetarily wise, even by action standards back then, $6.5 million is not much.
Yeah.
The practical effects are actually pretty damn good, including Arnie, robot Arnie, animatronic Arnie.
Yeah.
Still looks pretty fucking good for something made in 1984.
Well, that's the thing.
I mean, you can tell, obviously.
You can tell, yeah. And, some people go back and say the head looks horrible and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't really, considering the money, considering what they got it to do, like how it was moving and stuff. Like, I thought it was pretty fucking good, considering the only...
It didn't take me out of it, No,
like that's right. That's right.
Easy. It could have easily been really poorly done to the point where you're just like, I can't be bothered watching this. But it was fine. There's no worries there.
Any of the other stuff, like, when he's playing with his arm and when it's kind of partially showing the skeleton underneath, are really well done. The stop motion even is not too bad. It's probably the only part where it really looks a little bit off compared to today's standards. But like you said, considering the time and the budget, it's fucking excellent.
You hear people talking about Terminator and when that came out, and that was just nothing like they'd ever seen before. So you've got to put it into context, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Top-notch direction. I mean, James Cameron is a noted prick. But the bottom line is, the guy strives for the best he can get. Now, if you're going to drown Ed Harris, that's too far. But when you want the best you can get, like it's obvious from a early part of his career, he's striving for the best he can get out of it.
Yeah. Wasn't some of the fog that he put out in this one a little bit toxic or something like that?
He was telling Arnie to roll up in the middle of the street and punch windows up. No one will see us, it'll be fine.
That's how you start a budget.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
I love it. A little bit of George Miller in there.
Is he dead? Get him up, every right. But his direction is just top class. I've always been a fan of his the action scenes he puts together. He really paces them well. They're really well edited.
Yeah.
And I'd suggest he's got his hands all over it from go to woe. Yeah, and he'd only made one film at that stage. Yeah. Piranha 2, Flying Killers. I've got to check that out.
I actually think like the cinematography is really good too. Like there's this cold kind of metallic look to it the whole way through.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a little bit of the kind of costume design as well, where Arnie and Kyle Reese look kind of with that sort of industrial, kind of very dull, whereas Sarah Connor's got a bit of colour to it. And it kind of blends in as we go. Like,
I'm not going to lie, at one point Arnie is dressed like Billy Idol.
Yeah. But look, if you're trying to be inconspicuous, don't walk around with a glove on. Just saying.
Yeah, fingerless gloves.
No, that's not the work. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you're punching out some weights, leave the fingerless gloves at home, Arnie. I also loved that opening, we get, the Bill Paxton sighting being a real jackass.
Also get a Brian Thompson sighting.
Brian Thompson sighting. I thought that too. Like, well before Cobra, this must have just been kind of juvenile delinquent night slasher before he really kind of took things to the next level.
Yeah, that's right.
But, it's funny to see those actors in little roles. Dick Miller too.
Yeah. I love that scene.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Wrong. Just fucking shoots him. I love it. And
nice,
I will never forget in the Dick Miller scene, Uzi 9mm. Always a favourite of mine.
Oh, you really know your firearms, pal.
What does he say? Pulse rifle with something on it. He's just what you can see.
That whole scene was great.
Well, he probably needs to consider his sort of store layout and sales tactics. You're just handing over
Don't put the bullets out on the fucking cash register, right?
That's right. I'm going on faith here. I'm going to hand you the gun. I'm going to turn my back and just hope you don't pick up the bullets that are right next to it.
But he's like, this is my kind of guy.
Oh shit, he can have anything he likes.
He saw a massive payday.
Acting performances.
Which one do you want? All of them.
Acting performances are all really good.
Yeah.
Linda Hamilton brings that perfect sort of mixture of like innocent and then gets tougher as she goes along.
Yeah.
As I said, I think Michael Biehn is fantastic. And, for a while there, he was having a pretty good career for himself. And Arnie...
What are you saying?
Well, Michael, he fell away
off
into the
slightly.
90s.
He did.
Unfortunately.
I also think the cops are both
Yeah.
really good.
Henriksen and Paul Winfield, especially.
And the psychologist that comes back
in the
second one, like he's very good. Kind of amusing, and the way that he's kind of never taken it seriously, he just works really well in opposition to Kyle Reese is kind of steadfast.
Screaming and But the performances are excellent.
I also like how Lance Henriksen keeps trying to tell stories. And the other guy's
shut up. To see this scar here. Shut up. He's just like, all right.
I liked the roommate's boyfriend too. He was great. I'm unbuttoning your blouse.
Oh shit, Sarah too. Can you put Ginger on for me? As soon as she picked up the phone, he goes, "I'll rip off your blouse."
Just straight back into it. Love it.
I also love it when he gets the shit beat out of him with his crackers.
He does all right. He's the
around.
closest thing to a challenge that Arnie faces.
Don't make me bust you up.
He gets thrown right through the wall. That's so good.
Yeah, but the acting's top class. It's a solid cast considering the budget. And I guess at the time Arnie was not a star, and none of them really were. So you were getting them for a pittance.
Yeah,
and so it works really well. Just the whole conceit of this Terminator sent back in time to erase you, basically, who it will not fucking stop, no matter what. It's just a great idea for this type of thing.
And they do such a good job of building it up. It goes, you've seen him punch a dude through the chest and kill him, so you know that there's a threat there. But they just keep building it and building it and building it, until he's like walking through explosions and then he's like half a robot and he's still causing damage.
I think they do build it up really well, especially with the other Sarah Connors getting killed. Like, it's some of those things that you don't notice until you've watched it a few times, but for whatever reason, I really liked this time around Arnie rolling up to the first house and running over the kid's toy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just this tiny little moment that shows how callous and how much disregard he has for other human life and whatever. And then it's followed up with that first Sarah Connor where she opens the door and just gets, he busts in the door. That takes it up a notch.
It's a proper execution.
Yeah, you knew he wasn't.
He just shoots her once and then he just sort of stands over and goes...
Yeah, you knew he wasn't right, but then when he says to Sarah Connor, she says yes, and he just fucking goes bang through the door, as you said, shoots her like that. It just kind of, the stakes all of a sudden become really heavy for Sarah Connor, and then obviously the next one gets killed, you get the cops work it out very quickly, and everyone's after Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
It just works out really well.
Yeah. And it does create that, as you say, the stakes. Is you've just seen this guy execute Sarah Connor with ease.
Yeah.
So this young Sarah Connor is going to have real problems with this guy.
In your head, you're sitting there going, why doesn't she just go straight to the cops? Why doesn't she go straight to the cops? And then she goes to the cops and he still comes through and does the unthinkable. You don't think that's an option.
Yeah, he takes her that, she's in the inner sanctum of the police station and it means nothing. Like it just sort of, it works really well when it builds up to that.
I did like the Reese's arrival and the department store situation. I really like that idea because, once again, it put him in a situation where he could actually get some clothes and get a weapon and all that sort of stuff.
Stole him off the old man.
It actually felt, hey, that guy took my purse. Instead of making it kind of a false way to get him what he needs, he breaks into a department store and the actual action scene happens in there. And he gets dressed while he's being followed.
Yeah, that's right. Sneaking it off
you just see his shoes come out at one point. And
he's like, that sort of fits.
Yeah. I really like that.
Ends up in a nice pair of Nikes for himself.
Yeah, that's iconic too.
With Velcro. Velcro tabs.
I'd wear those.
I'd still wear them now if you gave them to me.
Totally.
We talked about the gun shop and the first Sarah Connor incident. Which is, Arnie's thick accent of Sarah Connor. Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a sequence sorry to go slightly off the track, in Terminator 3? A cut scene where it showed how he got his
his voice.
and his look.
Yeah, Sergeant Candy.
Oh my god.
Sergeant William Candy.
Oh.
And it's Arnie with a big, thick kind of southern accent going, hey, there, talking away. And then someone goes, what do we do about the voice? And a guy with Arnie's voice goes, we can fix it. It's actually, you look at it, it's just like, yeah, that did not work at all. I get the idea, but yeah, seeing Sergeant William Candy and his big kind of Texas accent coming out of Arnie just doesn't work.
The shootout in the nightclub.
Yep.
Apart from the screeching music, that is just a superb sequence.
Yeah.
The use of the slow-mo. Zack Snyder, take some notes, brother. It doesn't need to happen every fucking minute.
Your stock was rising.
I've got it.
I've listened to a couple of podcasts that just suggest probably your stocks might be slipping a little bit.
Shit, what was I told? I saw it ages ago. No, but he uses a slow-mo perfectly a couple of times. One in particular where Arnie walks past and she bends down to pick something up, and it's in slow motion as he kind of looks over, but she's bent over so he can't see her.
It keeps going.
He keeps going. And then you have that slow-mo bit where he actually does find her and he pulls the gun and Kyle's pushing people out of the way.
Yeah.
All that stuff's awesome.
That's sort of shotgun attached to a piece of string just in case. It's pretty cool.
I love it. And he really unloads it on him. And then
he keeps getting up.
Yeah, he just fucking gets up. And then we move into some exposition in the middle of a chase.
Yeah.
He's telling her about what
going on.
Arnie is whilst the cops are flying after them and everything.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done.
That car chase is great.
Yeah.
You don't get taken out of anything. It's
no, that's right. Like, and even the dialogue. Is the dialogue's well written enough that you don't start giggling when he starts talking about robots from the future and stuff?
Which easily could have happened.
Yeah. Two good acting performances. Some, as you said, Adam, the dialogue from Reese is really good throughout the whole movie.
Was that William Wisher, possibly?
Possibly.
As we were unaware of.
Maybe, but we never really look at it and go,
Stallone rewrites.
That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, but I just love it. And one thing I was actually going to say, just doubling back, the death of Matt and Ginger in the apartment. He's in his crackers, loved it, gets the shit beaten, he throws her through the wall. The way he shoots her, he kind of gives her one from a distance and then she's trying to crawl away.
Yeah.
He gives her the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then the fact that Sarah rings their house and leaves a message and says where she is.
That's actually really good.
And he
even
just
though it's
sort of
fairly
hears
convenient.
He wanders, he goes off.
Because, I mean, he looked like he'd job done. Yeah. I mean, I was thinking he was just about ready to start a family and open a draping installation business because the mission had been completed, and he was just going to wander aimlessly until he started learning things. And,
I think that could be a separate movie. Once the Terminator has done its job, what would the Terminator's life be?
Well, check out Dark Fate, Matty. It tells all about it. Just picks a name for himself, Carl's Drapes Business. Anyway, but this...
Doesn't he also start to age?
Yes.
But
how?
The idea was he didn't age.
It's skin. It's a human skin.
Oh, yeah. So he could have aged, I
But
guess.
they also use it a couple of other times, like the police radio. It kind of puts him onto the track. I mean, he's a Terminator, but he's not a fucking tracker's asshole. He's just
watching him just when he gets a bit of information, he just twigs and he's off. Like it's and that happens a few times.
That's right.
And goes to the parents' house. He's gone.
Yep.
I forgot in the nightclub scene my favourite line in the whole movie. Come with me if you want to live. Used repeatedly throughout the series.
Yes.
Better, not too bad in part 2, because I think Arnie says it in part 2, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Not well used in Terminator Genesis.
Look, not much was well used in Terminator Genesis. And I maintain it's not Jai Courtney's fault.
No, it's not Jai Courtney's
He just keeps
fault,
getting
for God's sake.
Getting himself into stupid sequels. It's not his fault.
Not his fault. Fucking script was absolute dog shit. And God, he didn't write it.
Yeah. I also question, because old mate, Matt, wasn't he in his crackers and his socks?
Yeah.
Was he?
Are your feet cold if everything else isn't?
Mate,
you've got the smallest pair of jocks you could find.
I don't know, Matt. You just did the job. I think you're a natural.
It's the only way to make life.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting tossed around the room in the nick.
Yeah. I just need to keep the socks on. My foot don't warm up like everything else does.
He's a sensitive lover. He doesn't want to make her cold with his feet.
I freeze in my extremities.
I tell you, he sounded like a sensitive lover on the phone.
Yeah. He sounded like a real sensitive bloke. Yeah.
They're made for each other. She finishes the business and goes to eat a 7-story sandwich in the kitchen.
I know. Little does she realise she's so. I know that at one point I believe they're actually having sex and she's got her fucking headphones on.
She's probably
I
listening
think
to
she'd had enough of his fucking bills and boom stick and just wanted to.
Yeah, he's still there going, I'll rip off your brows.
She just chucked the headphones on.
Yeah, okay.
On came
Do
that
what you gotta do, mate, if it helps
screechy
you.
80s pop music to drown him out.
Reese bought a copy of our podcast on cassette. She's listening to that.
No, she would have fucking turned it off.
Man.
And that monologue he gives in the car with her, where he's going, it cannot be bargained with, it cannot be reasoned with.
Yeah.
It will
Has no
not stop.
remorse.
Yeah.
That was not far after that. I really like the line when she's like, I didn't do anything. And he goes, no, but you will.
Yeah.
And kind of, when building up to that, he has a couple of really good lines.
And
like
look,
that.
if you hadn't watched this movie 500 times, you would have gone, oh, shit, what's happening?
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yep. Absolutely.
Arnie's repairing of himself in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think that stuff looks pretty good.
Yeah.
And it's because it's shot with that
Eyeball's cool, man. That's
darker, it's not as well lit up as the film stock and stuff today and all that type of stuff. It gives it a little bit of cover.
And I like how that was shot too. It's like shot of the tool, shot of something happening, and then they open everything that you see inside the arm.
Yeah.
It's really well shot.
Well, they shoot all of it, cutting in little bits of real Arnie kind of, trying to do a little bit of the cover-up work. And it works well enough.
Great. Yeah,
absolutely. I can
great.
imagine if at the time, in the 80s, if you saw it, you would have thought that looks fucking great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think all of that stuff works really well.
I liked his response to the landlord or whatever.
Fuck you, asshole.
He's like looking for appropriate response.
Yeah.
Fuck you, asshole.
I still feel he should have said, look, I'm in here. Occupied. Yeah, that is gold. The old fuck you, asshole.
Smells like a dead rat in there or something.
The exposition, the further exposition that gets given was another nifty way of having it was Reese being interviewed by the psychologist.
Yeah.
So, once again, there's a reason why we are getting this information because he's trying to explain what's going on to a fucking psychologist who's going.
And the guy kind of reinforces his story by going, I deal with delusions all the time, but they're not as well constructed as this one. He's got every angle covered and whatever. And it's like, okay, yeah. So that kind of sells it to Sarah as well. Who's, at that point, she believes him, but it's kind of like, this is...
Well,
this
and
is
he's got good explanations. PCPs popping up.
He's wearing body armour.
Yeah.
The body armour one's the one that would make me go, now, hang on. You might take one shot in the chest, not five.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you just get up like nothing happened. I'll be back, of course.
Yeah.
Good sequence again.
Yeah, great sequence. The actual shootout is excellent.
Did you hear that him and Cameron had a fight over that line? Did you hear that? He wanted to say, Arnie couldn't say I'll be back. And Cameron was just yelling at him. Apparently had a massive blue because he just wanted to say, I will be back. I will be back. And he's like, just say the fucking line. Conversation. Yeah. And I'm glad that happened. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't quite hold up so well.
I will be back. No, I'll be back works better.
Yeah.
And just the whole idea of when he says I'll be back, he's coming back, and it's probably not going to be pleasant.
It's just always is escalating things. He thinks it through. It's like, this isn't working the way I'd like it to.
I also love the way he kind of rolls in. And, the Terminator, not, as you said, not a tracker's asshole, but also not quite knowledgeable enough to give a better cover story than, I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I need to see her. That's not getting you in the door, mate. Come on.
And other than the top level of cops, what's this guy doing? Yeah, she'll be out in a minute. It's like, mate, this is this is pretty serious. Yeah. Maybe this could be the guy.
He also looks fucking badass in his leather kit with two guns, a gun on each arm, and he's just walking around the place going boom, boom, just killing everyone.
The shotgun or the Uzi.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It's just really, really well done.
That whole scene looks cool. Like the fires going on.
And he turns out the lights and it brings on the halogen lamps and that. It's just really well done.
And they shoot it really well as well because you're not sure who's coming through the door. That fear that you see Sarah Connor as she's sitting under the table. It's legitimate. It's really well acted.
Because you're not sure if Kyle's going to get out, whether it's Arnie or whether it's the cops coming past.
And when the fist goes through the glass as well, you're like, that's definitely Arnie. It's really good that
the fist looked like a fucking ham hock. I actually initially, when I'd forgotten about him flashing back to the Resistance and being in the bunker, and initially I was a bit like, is this taking me out of things a little bit?
Yeah.
Is it? But I actually liked it in the end because it shows us where they're sort of hiding out.
Yeah.
It shows us the whole thing about one of the Terminators infiltrating it.
Yeah.
But it also shows us the picture of
that's right.
of Sarah and that he had it, which obviously comes back around.
Yeah,
later,
that's right.
Which I thought was a really nice touch. Really nice touch. One of my favourite parts of the film is the fact that he tells her, I came here for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
I always have been.
A little bit creepy. But
little creepy, yeah. But it's done well enough. I think it's got creep. It's got a touch of creep.
Well, he didn't first turn up and just go, hey.
That's right.
Well, he didn't go, I'm going to rip off your That was creepy.
Sorry, this is not Matt. My name's Kyle. I'm just in town to meet you.
Yeah.
It's kind around his ankles when he said it.
Yeah. His socks on, his crackers on. That's it.
I can't imagine him growing up in the Resistance would lend itself to much romance. You know?
No.
That's right.
The social skills might be lacking.
Yeah. But I still thought it was. I mean, looking at it, you should sort of know that when he's talking about John Connor and all that if you look closely enough, you should know that that's likely to occur. Right?
Yeah.
But I think it's done pretty well.
There's a point in the middle where when you know it and you go back and pick up on certain things. There's a point in the middle where she starts mentioning about the father. I wonder who the father is and all this sort of stuff. And you kind of think, oh, okay, well, I could have picked up on that, but it's subtle enough. Yeah.
The creepy bloke.
Maybe it's Matt. It's subtle enough that it's
could it be Matt? Or is it some random bloke at the fucking discotheque?
Oh man.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it's done well enough that you don't really jump onto it because it's in the middle of all that. Like you said, there's action going on. There's Reese spilling the kind of the exposition, and you don't really pick up on it.
No.
Well, I didn't anyway. But.
No, I mean you said he was creepy. I mentioned it, but
of course.
I don't think it's that creepy.
Yeah,
it's kind of like there's a little bit of creep, but that's it. It
transitions pretty quick.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job of getting it there. The finale is the last 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Motorcycle chases, truck chases, bloody shit getting blown up.
Terminator's dying and coming back.
Into a processing plant.
Yeah. Shoe factory, what is it?
I don't know what it was. Looked like Cyberdyne, as far as I could tell.
Yeah. But the humanity gradually kind of degrading bit by bit throughout that fight until he's the skeleton fucking crawling out of it or walking out of that fire is just a fucking great image.
Yeah.
Really good stuff. And it's really scary too.
The crawling Terminator just before he gets terminated himself is one of the best images he could have had in a movie. It's coming, but man, it looks brilliant.
Just quietly too, speaking of George Miller, I feel for the fucking stuntman who gets out of the truck while it's on fire.
Yeah.
He is fully engulfed. Fully engulfed.
The poor bastard is going up. Can we push the money up a little bit on this stunt? There's a lot going on here.
Yeah. The shit is on fire. James Cameron's going, don't worry, he will be fine. Don't worry about it. Get back in there. But yeah, it's just a really, really great sort of everything coming to a head and pushing to a really sort of solid climax.
The look on the passenger's face on the truck when he grabs it.
Get out. Just so gets out. I like that.
Yeah.
But it builds to, like, the movie's been at a crescendo for a fair bit. Like, there's been quite a lot of action, but just kind of builds and builds and builds and builds, and then gets to that bit where, you know, she crushes him. You know, you're terminated, fucker, or whatever it is.
And it's so good because she's finally alone and she's got to find the strength to do it.
Yeah.
It's so good. They built that up very nicely.
Yeah. And my last like is, I just think there's a sort of the post stuff where we see her in Mexico and we see where the photo was taken.
Yeah.
And then he says, there's a storm coming. And she goes, I know.
Yeah. Open up nicely for a
sequel.
Beautiful.
We didn't see it for 8 years, but
it was good when it came.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the sequel, I think, is that Cameron had time to think about where you could go.
Yeah, and I think if you look back at it, I don't think it made bank to the point at the box office where it was like guaranteed.
No.
I think it was the build-up on home video and stuff as well, that it took a while for that to kind of.
And then by 92, Arnie was the biggest fucking star in the world.
How exciting would it have been being a part of number 1 and then having number 2 come out? That would be amazing.
Yeah, awesome. The idea of it is just so good. I mean, when you sit down and think about it, it opens up a ton of questions. But in the moment, you're not thinking about it because it's paced beautifully. It's so exciting that you don't stop to think about, hang on a minute, how can he send Reese back to father him when he wouldn't exist and all this sort of shit? Like, there's a few questions that you have. And about, why did they send him back to this time period? But you don't think about that in the thick of it because it's so well done.
Yeah.
I also
I think one of the best sequels there are, I reckon.
Yeah, and I think it's balanced. Like, for an action movie to include some of this actual kind of thoughtful sort of commentary and smart sci-fi ideas, it's kind of textbook for how to blend them.
Yeah.
There's not too much. It's easily understood, but it just adds so much to it. It just adds so much to the action. I read a review, I think it was your mate, James Berardinelli, who he said he was at a screening and he said it was kind of like the depth was kind of thoughtful enough, but he said there was a woman that he came out next to that was saying, I didn't really get what was going on. Was the guy, was Kyle Reese Arnie's dad? I'm like, unless you're that person, it's kind of just the right blend to have you coming out really thinking through some of this shit about the machines taking over and stuff like that.
It's really...
They can't afford to send everybody back because it's like one of a possible multitude of possibilities.
I mean, I feel like it set Stephen King's mind racing about things taking over, and then he thought, trucks, that's a good idea.
And then what I'll do is I'll direct a version of it, coke to the eyeballs. That's the best thing to do. That was it for me and likes.
Yeah.
I like the phone call as well. We'd seen it in the second one, but but the phone call back from the parents' house, like, she's just like completely trusting.
And I love the way that's shot.
Yeah.
It just starts on the door, it's all busted open, full of holes, and then it just sort of goes
know exactly what's going on.
You know, he's just wiped the whole family out.
Yeah. And he's just sitting there waiting patiently like a good Terminator.
Yeah, not a hunter's arsehole.
Yeah, that's right. He's thinking, once again, I've got to rely on the, telecommunications or radio to get this information because I've fucking lost her again.
Yeah. No, but he's sitting there and he's going, should I call it Carl's?
Should it be drapes or
blinds? Drapes or blinds. Curtains, maybe?
My other couple of little likes. I liked in Tech Noir that I felt like I could have gotten... I could have been a good dancer in the 80s.
Yeah.
It was simpler. All you had to do was bend over and do a bit of a shimmy. It felt a little bit like the Chappelle sketch, where they're doing the Prince sketch. Charlie Murphy's doing a little shimmy.
Yeah.
There was that guy in the white shirt and the black tie. I was like, I could be that guy.
I definitely looked at a few people and thought, I could have
hung.
Yeah,
I could have hung with this group for a while.
It could have been cool back then.
Yeah. I mean,
it got complicated at some point.
Yeah, that nightclub, I think, might have also been in RoboCop.
Yeah, and everyone was coked out, so if you go a little bit too far, it doesn't matter because people are throwing arms everywhere.
Yeah, if you drop into a James Brown squints or something, no one's going to throw you out of the place.
Yeah,
You're going to be overboard. You're going to be excited.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's pretty much my likes though. I also liked seeing Arnie without his eyebrows. That reminded me of when my dad opened the pizza oven and all the smoke came out and singed his. So that was a personal like for me.
Oh, God.
That's a good lesson. I'm assuming you never did that yourself after seeing that.
If he'd seen the Terminator, it might not have happened to him.
No.
I would have loved to see my dad watching the Terminator. The best.
The dislikes for me, I only had one, and it was that the miniatures and the visual effects are dated pretty substantially. Even the stop motion. Some of it looks okay, some of it looks a bit ropey.
Yeah.
But it's a minor quibble. I mean, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Well, the miniatures is all forced perspective as well.
Yeah.
Like the skulls and shit like that. Again, I can't, like you said,
knock the shit out of it because it's not that bad.
Yeah.
But it takes you a little bit out of some of those scenes when the battle in the future doesn't look as good.
Yeah. And when you realise, one of the bodies lying around is probably the special effects man who's breathed in some fucking toxic fog or something and just passed out on the set.
Don't worry about him.
Continue.
We'll get him up later.
Give me another special effects man.
But that's it for me.
Yeah. I've only got a couple. I mean, well, not even really a couple. Really just one. When did Arnie have time to fucking rent the room?
I don't think he did. I think he just kicked in the window. Isn't that how he walked? He walked in there. He just...
You assume that's what happened, but the landlord coming to the door means he's...
Well, that's the... And
have some social
the other part,
that's why
the guns under the bed?
Yeah. No, but that's why the response is not, I've paid you for this room. It was fuck you asshole. Because, he's not really...
But
it's a seedy joint.
I mean, like the guy would have been saying, hang on a minute. This room's unoccupied. What are you doing here? Yeah. So I was kind of looking at that going, I would have... I don't want to see the interaction between Arnie and the bloke.
Howdy, partner. I'm in town from... I'd like to rent a room. Is it that? Do you think that's the interaction?
I reckon that's what happened, yeah. That's why they cut it. But yeah, again, like minor quibble. I don't really give a shit about that. It was just something that popped into my head this time. The people in the restaurants too, they deserve a dislike. I mean, fuck. Sarah Connor's busting her ass there and people can't even put the plates down before people are saying, we're ready to order.
That's right.
I want my coffee topped up.
Ice cream in the pocket.
Yeah. Well, fuck you. You can wait.
That's right.
I mean, but she did bring the burly beef.
I know.
And no one was having the burly beef, mate. And that is a bit like when we went to Hog's Breath the other day, although that was about the smell.
That was
the smell of the steak.
Yeah, your call, that one.
I always knew we were in trouble when we came in. It was the 20th of May, and on the sign it said, new menu, 25 May.
Yeah.
All right, so they've had a gutful of this menu.
Well, I thought we were in trouble when, the business was just about in receivership. There's restaurants closing everywhere, and you said, what about Hog's Breath? Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I was even more surprised when the response was, yeah.
I said, okay.
Let's go to Hog's Breath.
I was playing along.
Well, I didn't know of any other steak joints.
There's a few.
Is there?
She's go to Russia.
I mean, cross, mate, if you go to the mall, there's meant to be a steak joint in front of Fernwood, but there's been 4 steak joints. They've all gone under. They've all been.
It's the Bavarian now, though.
Yeah,
all you have to do is serve gigantic beers, and no one gives a shit about what the food tastes like. We won't be doing that again.
No. I've scratched Hog's Breath. I think that's the reason why there's only one in Canberra. They've slowly been terminated.
Yeah. That's right.
That way across Canberra.
So you eat at the one in the city and go, that's fine. So then that closes down and everyone gradually migrates over to Woden and goes, that's fucked. And then we're still in that process. There's still a couple of dregs that are keeping it afloat.
Well, they've got a new menu. Menu come 25 May. I'd like to see what that is.
Yeah, new menu. Comes with fresh meat. We got our meat on 20 May.
Yeah, it hasn't been fucking skewered for 24 hours in a toilet.
I think we didn't read the print well. I think it might have been scratched out and said 24 months. Might have tasted it.
All right, well, I love Hog's Breath. We'll leave it there.
Look, if you really need to sponsor us, I'll open.
Yeah, if you want us to do a bloody pitch for you, I can toad it down.
Yeah, it didn't smell that bad.
It was a musky aroma.
It smelled like real beach. Yeah, surfing turf.
It's just proof of the aging process that they kind of talk about.
Anything else, people?
I thought, just a little quibble, but I thought that recovery from being hit by a bullet was pretty quick for old Reese.
Yeah, true.
Twice.
Yeah. But it was just the meat. Just the meat.
Just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
He's like,
The flesh wound of your stomach.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
like,
Yeah.
It's nothing. And then she pulls a bullet out.
That's what I love about movies. It missed all vital organs.
Yeah.
It still doesn't matter. There's fucking shit in there.
It still hurts.
I've never been shot. No, it looks pretty damn painful.
Yes.
I was hoping it would be a sort of Naked Gun style. Yeah. It's just got the meat, and then he has a drink, and you get a little fountain coming out of his guts or something like that.
And obviously there was another dislike, Matt having his socks on during obviously, yeah, we went through that.
Very unromantic.
We've
Sort
covered
it
it.
out. I'm representing that. So they need to do a better
My
job.
good socks.
Is that holes in it? Jesus. All right. Anything else? No?
Sarah Connor's hair.
Oh, mullet.
His hair.
Women's
Again,
mullet.
Plenty of body to
A lot of body.
They're like, we look good. Like an 80s rock star.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. It was, but that was the time.
that's
Yeah,
pretty
that was the
funny.
time. Actually, that was more of a perm. I've had experience.
I was looking at it going, how can people have really liked hair like that? And then I look at all the mullets from the kids are wearing these days, and I'm like, all right, that's how it happens.
Someone seems
pretty
to be
ordinary.
interested in it.
But I love the 80s kind of, it just sums up the 80s excess. It's on your head.
Yeah.
How can I get my hair? How can I get my hair as far away from my head as possible?
Yeah.
Just,
We've got the biggest trucks, we've got the biggest food, he has the biggest hair you can possibly have.
Love it.
For us who are struggling to have hair on our head, it's
Yeah, I'd give anything to have a bloody haircut like that these
You
days.
guys,
Shit.
you guys would both be fucking.
If I
would kill for mullets.
If I could, I would look like I was on the cover of Slippery When Brown.
Yeah, I was looking over your shoulder seductively.
Yeah, including leather vest with nothing underneath it. Like, if I've got that much hair, I don't need to. If it gets cold, I just kind of just huddle up a little bit and cover my shoulders with my hair.
Yeah. All right, that is the Terminator. Now you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podomatic. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com. We're also on Instagram at Thrill Me Podcast AU. Our next episode, a pick off Shudder, Jared. First thing they've gotten right.
Yeah, they got it right, but I'd already bought the Blu-ray by the time it showed up. So
Right, so you still got a bone to pick. You still got a bone to pick with them. Yeah. It's Psycho Gorman from 2020. But until next time, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch up with you later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.